actually all the rottenness that has gone on in the Irish economy and Irish society over the last 10 years. But Anglo Irish Bank, of course, was only one representation of that rottenness, and it was the entire system, and not just in Ireland, but in Spain, in Portugal, in Greece, and right throughout Europe. And it's because of that that we are suffering the cuts that are being implemented at the present time, and it's because of opposition to that that we are here. Now, I have a number of very important speakers. I'm going to start with Clare Daley representing the Socialist Party. We'll have a few songs from Ronan Coppinger and some more very important speakers after that. So I'll ask people to please stay with us. We will do our business efficiently, but it's important to stay to show our determination to continue this movement. Clare Daley.
Thanks, Joe. I'm sure, like all of you here today, that I am very proud to stand in solidarity with working people across the EU who don't accept that we should be forced to pay for a crisis that was not of our creation. I'm proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with the 23 million unemployed people in the EU. Imagine the talent of 23 million people lying idle. Why? Not because the work isn't there, not because the needs don't have to be met, but because there isn't a profit to be made from it. What an indictment of the present system that is. And yet, scandalous and all as that figure is, it's just as shocking when you consider that the Irish government could have given €1,000 to every one of those EU unemployed and still only equalled the amount that they buried in that cesspit behind you. It is an absolute disgrace. Can you imagine the outcry that would have met us if the government had said that they were going to give a cash handout to all the unemployed of Europe? There would have been an outcry. Instead, they give a cash handout to the spivs, the profiteers and the bankers, and not only is there not a murmur, but they're actually applauded for it by their friends in the IMF and so on. 22 billion is only the start of our money that has been buried by these people. That money will be repaid by our elderly citizens who can't get care in the hospitals, by our children who can't get educated in the schools, and by our families who will be hit by water charges and property taxes on top of the struggling mortgages, management fees and so on. Now all of these things, that's a bad thing, they're not a good thing, but all of these things are not natural and they're not inevitable. They're not because we've all enjoyed the boom and now we all have to suffer the after effects, although obviously I'm sure you all were delighted that those at the top did manage to save a few bob to hire a few suits the other night to put their noses in the troughs around the corner. We are not all suffering now, and we didn't all benefit during the boom. It's the same process that's at work now that was at work then. It's the inevitable consequence of the way in which society is organised, where the wealth is owned by and controlled by those at the top. And we have the affront that the forces of the state are assembled here today to protect them, and then us as ordinary citizens and taxpayers who are the great anti-theft movement have the guards out watching us. That is an insult too. They should be over here joining us. The last 2 points I will make is the future that's faced in front of us is not improving, but is actually lining up to be more of the same. And people have two choices to make out of that scenario. They either resist this agenda, as our cohorts and fellow workers are doing all over Europe, or they assist in implementing that agenda, as unfortunately many of the trade union leaders in Ireland are doing. Workers in Ireland have demonstrated time and again our willingness to make a stand and defend our living conditions, only to be sold out time and again by those at the top. We will go from today to rebuild the trade union movement in the same manner in which it was built in the first place. The ideas of the founders of Connolly and Larkin, the ideas of struggle, solidarity and of socialism. Because it is true to say that this government could have been gone long ago if there was any serious opposition at play. We all know the crisis in Fine Gael, what a joke. Does anybody here believe that that was a charisma contest between Tweedledum Kenny and Tweedledee Bruton? I don't think so. That was about the fact that they are indistinguishable. They have the same agenda as Fianna Fáil have. And Labour, while they like to talk out of both sides of their mouths, inevitably will be found out also, because you can't control what you don't own. So I think the only solution and the only way in which we can grapple with the issues and give a solution to those issues facing ordinary people is to take into public ownership the vast resources and wealth that exist in society, to have a real public works programme that delivers jobs and that delivers services for our people. And in that sense, we live at the moment in a world turned upside down, a wrong way round, where a tiny minority get fat off our backs. We're about changing that, standing on its head, and for a society which is run in the interests of all. The leaders and the businesses throughout Europe should be trembling, because now our time is more necessary and our time will come.